Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. But before we just getting all to the transfer rumours, I just want to give you an update on yesterday's result. Of course, Manchester United beat AC Milan 5-4 on penalties. It did of course end 2-2 in normal time. I didn't really get a chance to currently watch the game. Because I did go out yesterday, so I apologise that I didn't come on after the game as I usually do. It was goals for Marcus Rashford and Jesse Lingard for Manchester United. I think for AC Milan, Suso scored a really good goal, and I think AC Milan's second goal was an own goal from Victor Lindelof. So the game ended 2-2, and Manchester United did win 5-4 on penalties against AC Milan. So what a fantastic pre-season Manchester United have had. Basically 5 wins isn't it in normal time, but if you want to count us winning 5-4 on penalties, it's basically 6 wins out of 6 in pre-season. I think the young players have done really well throughout pre-season. More or less everybody's been given the chance throughout pre-season. The fringe players, the young players, the experienced players, and that's really good. So throughout pre-season we beat Perth Glory by 2-0. We beat Leeds United 4-0. We beat Inter Milan 1-0. We beat Tottenham 2-1. We beat Christian 1-0, and we beat AC Milan 5-4 on penalties. But the players I've been really impressed with. I think Mason Greenwood's been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, he's been assured more playing time this season. Obviously, he's only 17 years of age, so he is the upcoming future. Is Mason Greenwood, so it's good he's getting his chances this season in the Premier League. Obviously, we do know Chong. He's been very impressive in pre-season. He's the upcoming future. You've obviously got McTominay. Where don't get me wrong, I'm still very sceptical about McTominay. Where I don't know if he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United, but I've been analysing his performances throughout pre-season. He has been really good. I think Alex Tuanzebe has been fantastic in that back line. Some people said we should orchestrate on loaning Alex Tuanzebe out again for this season, because maybe some people think it'll be brighter for his future. Maybe some people think obviously gaining a bit more experience, loaning him out for another season. But he did well in his loan spell with Aston Villa, of course. Last season did Alex Tuanzebe. We have seen glimpses of what good signings Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have proven to be. Throughout pre-season, because them two have been absolutely fantastic. Don't get me wrong, there's still improvements needed in Daniel James's game, but he's still got a lot of development in him. Like I said, he's a prospect, and he does basically he needs to be given time to develop. But I think Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have both had fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So what good signings they've proven to be so far. So yeah, I think I think Angel Gomez, we're seeing glimpses of how good he is. But I think the majority of the squad overall have done really well in pre-season. I was very impressed with Luke Shaw as well. I think he's done absolutely fantastic. I think the only real disappointing player has obviously been Nemanja Matic, and you do now have got so many concerns about Matic, because he's too slow in that midfield. He's too ineffective. We have seen glimpses of his best form as a Manchester United player, because he has been here a couple of years now. He was good towards the back end of last season. There was parts where he did well at Chelsea, and I know he's highly experienced in that in the Premier League, but he's too slow, and he totally makes that midfield imbalanced. And I think he was at fault for AC Milan's first goal was Nemanja Matic, and he's not getting any younger, of course. He's aging up, and I did this to say Manchester United do need to get rid of him, because these problematic players at the football club, of course, that do need to be sold. But yeah, Matic is really inconsistent. I've been quite impressed with Andres Pereira. He hasn't done too bad. Fred, I think Fred hasn't done bad in pre-season. Fred again, I've got the same thoughts of what I've got with McTominay that I've got with Fred. Fred, I'm still very sceptical about him. Like I said, I don't know if he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. Fred, I do believe the club overpaid for him anyway. We got him last summer for just under £50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. But yeah, I'm very sceptical about Fred, and this is why I said that midfield is one of the pivotal areas where Manchester United have got strengthening up. Don't get me wrong, I think Fred, the likes of Fred or McTominay and that, are better solutions than Nemanja Matic, because I think Fred's more mobile on the ball. I think he's better on the ball, and I've got the same thoughts about McTominay, but we have definitely got to address that midfield. But yeah, and we obviously know that Lukaku obviously didn't play on pre-season because obviously he's looking likely he's on his way out of the football club. Obviously Darmian didn't play because he's served his 2 requirements at Manchester United. With Sanchez, I don't think he did either. Because obviously, Alexis Sanchez, I think he actually sustained an injury while he was on Copa America duty, with Chile. I think Sanchez had sustained some kind of injury. So quite a few players, didn't play throughout pre-season. But now, obviously, this game against AC Milan's gone. It's going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more of an indication of what, obviously, team, to go with against Chelsea next week. So that's the latest news on that. So basically, we do know more signings are needed at Manchester United. Obviously, we have got 3 players on the board. We've spent £148 million on Daniel James, on Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire from Leicester. I do believe that Harry Maguire hasn't been officially announced as yet. I think he was actually set to undergo his Manchester United medical yesterday, but his move to Manchester United has not been fully announced as yet. I do believe it should be fully announced today. Obviously, as it confirmed on Friday, Manchester United and Leicester had reached an agreement on around the £80 million fee for Harry Maguire. Brendan Rodgers had confirmed that Man United and Leicester have come to an agreement on around an £80 million fee. Some reports were saying that it was around £85 million that had currently been agreed between Manchester United and Leicester. I think reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has suggested that Harry Maguire could be given his Manchester United debut next week against Chelsea. But Solskjaer is still very convinced that this deal will fully get complete, but it just hasn't been fully announced as yet. Because it did initially say on Friday he was set to undergo his Manchester United medical and that over the weekend. Obviously now Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world, because obviously that £80 million figure is obviously made him the most expensive defender in the world, or is it £85 million? Obviously the fee as well is going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk, because obviously Liverpool paid £75 million for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018. But I'm very, very glad that Harry Maguire is currently that Harry Maguire is coming in. Obviously we had been in negotiations with Leicester for quite a long time. We'd been in negotiations with Leicester for large portions of the summer, before obviously we come to an agreement that Leicester City's valuation had seemed to be the stumbling block of Harry Maguire supposedly leaving Leicester, because don't forget, for quite some time we was reluctant to pay up to we was reluctant to pay more than £70 million. We was not willing to pay more than £70 million. Don't forget, we had 2 bids turned down for him. We had the £70 million bid turned down for him back in earlier July. But like I said, Ed Woodward was working on getting the deal over the line. He'd been in negotiations with Leicester for quite some time and all that, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer instructed Ed Woodward anyway, to currently get the deal completed. I think his contract has been sorted out. Harry Maguire's, I think he's going to sign a 5-year contract with Manchester United, I think with an option of a further year and all that. So that's obviously very, very good news. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to get the deal over the line quickly, because obviously this was following the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly had sustained, and with Eric Bailly, I think he's an imperative player for Manchester United, and I think he holds his line really, really well. But I think his Manchester United career has been really affected, with the amount of injuries sustained. Obviously, his fallout under managers. I think it's really taken its toll on Eric Bailly. So basically now I think he's out for up to 5 months. I did say he's a huge doubt this season. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified Harry Maguire as his number 1 defensive target. Obviously, we had been initially relentlessly into him. Obviously we haven't had a world-class central defender since we had the likes of Vidic and Fernandes. And obviously we was in for the central defender last summer, but reflecting back last summer, the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to the football club. But one of the players Mourinho wanted last summer, of course, was Harry Maguire. I do believe he was also tracking Harry Maguire, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United, because I think actually Alex Ferguson has been a long admirer of the player for quite some time now, as Ferguson. But I think also Mike Phelan, will be happy, with Harry Maguire coming in. Don't forget Mike Phelan has now got that reunion. Don't forget, Mike Phelan, managed Harry Maguire, during his short tenure with Hull, because Harry Maguire, did serve quite a few years with Hull. But yeah, very, very happy about it. And I think, Lindelof himself, is excited about the prospect of Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire playing alongside him in our current back line. But obviously, Harry Maguire wanted to leave Leicester, because obviously he informed Brendan Rodgers the other week. He also informed his Leicester teammates that he obviously wants to leave Leicester to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. And he said he wanted to come to Manchester United, and now obviously he's going to relish that opportunity. And I think this is going to be beneficial for him, his current career. Obviously, Harry Maguire, he's 26 years of age, so he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Plus, he's British, and obviously, he's well Premier League proven, which is also very beneficial for Manchester United. He's good in the air, he shows that ability to play out from the back. He's quick as Harry Maguire. Well, he's not fast, Harry Maguire, sorry, but that's my fault. But I've got a concern of element about him. There's an element of concern slightly, but he's not really fast, Harry Maguire. But I don't think that's a current issue. I think it can be addressed, when he comes to Manchester United. But he is very, very good in the air. He's Harry Maguire. He holds his line really, really well. And I do believe he'll blend in alongside Victor Lindelof fantastically well. I think his distribution is also, really, really good. Is Harry Maguire. But obviously, reflected back, was it 3 weeks ago? It was looking like Harry Maguire was, going to be going to Manchester City 3 weeks ago. Because I thought City were going to pay him around 280 grand a week. Obviously, initially his actual preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United, about 3 weeks ago. So his move to City at one point was looking probable, but initially City had withdrawn their interest because City obviously are not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding. Obviously, Leicester wanted in the excess of £80 million. City I think were only willing to pay around £65 million. So City had obviously held negotiations with Leicester. So obviously Harry Maguire, he's the most expensive defender in the world, or he's going to become the most expensive defender in the world. And people, will have their overarching views on it, and people will say, we've overpaid for Harry Maguire. I believe, we've overpaid for him, in my opinion. We have spent too much on him, because I did say £70 million is reasonable in this market for Harry Maguire. I think £70 million would have been reasonable, but I said over £70 million, we're definitely not overpaying for the player, and we have, overpaid for the player. But I still believe, he's going to deliver the goods to Manchester United, which is very, very good. And obviously, Brendan Rodgers, he had his overarching view on it, the speculation about Harry Maguire. He only came out early on this week before, we agreed the fee and all that, and he said, Harry Maguire is no closer to leaving Leicester for Manchester United, and he denied speculation that Man United were close to signing Harry Maguire. So this is what, basically Brendan Rodgers said. But he did say on Friday, Brendan Rodgers, that Manchester United and Leicester have agreed a fee and all that, but he said obviously, the deal is not done as yet, but hopefully, he should be completing his medical today. Obviously, Harry Maguire, didn't was left out of Leicester's squad, for their pre-season game against Atlanta. Leicester did win that game by 2 goals to 1. So with him being left out of that squad, that fueled more speculation. And obviously, he was absolutely not absent from training on Monday of this week. Obviously, he was allegedly absent from Leicester training because he had some kind of sickness bug. But Damasio reported on the story about Harry Maguire earlier on this week, and he said, Manchester United, Manchester United's deal for Harry Maguire is in the final stages of coming to an agreement. And Damasio, the majority of the time, is a very, very reliable Italian journalist. And I know he's got a few things wrong in the past, but most of the time, he's quite reliable. And he said Man United, we're going to get it over the line. So he's our third signing this summer. Obviously, he did serve 2 years with Leicester. He made 76 appearances for them in all competitions. 69 of those appearances had obviously come in the Premier League. He only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, don't forget. So he's under contract. Well, he was under contract with them until 2023. So he initially did have 4 years still remaining on his contract with Leicester. But Leicester are going to make a huge profit on the player, because don't forget, Leicester only paid £17 million for him from Hull City back in 2017. Leicester only paid around £17 million for him. And I think also he's demanded that he does want to become the captain of Manchester United. And I think, Manchester United may consider giving him the captaincy, because I think he'll be a fantastic leader in our back line. But I didn't just say we need an experienced centre-half. Now we've got one through Harry Maguire. Obviously, now I know we've bought central defenders in recent years. We paid, was it £30 or £31 million for Victor Lindelof a couple of seasons ago now from Benfica. And, there's been these vast improvements now in his game, as I've seen, because he was really, really good in his second season with Manchester United. Lindelof didn't really settle in his first season. He lacked that consistency, but I thought in his second season, Victor Lindelof, he really, really improved, and I think he's done well throughout pre-season, and I think, he's flourishing Manchester United, is Victor Lindelof. And I know we've bought the likes of Eric Bay in recent years from Villarreal for £30 million, but I didn't just say we needed a world-class central defender, and I think Harry Maguire is a better option than what we've currently got in our back line at the moment. and I also think Harry Maguire is going to be a good upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones, because you've got Smalling and Phil Jones now that are really inconsistent. They've been two long-serving players at the club. We give them both new long-term contracts last season, which was bad business for Manchester United. But yeah, like I said, we need a central defender, because look at what we did last season. We conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games, and that was our highest total, of course, in 40 years. But now with Harry Maguire coming in, we've got 7 central defenders, so we have got a lot of central defenders, and I think Man United may consider offloading one central defender. When Harry Maguire's moved to Manchester United is fully announced. And I do believe anywhere we need to sell players, we definitely need to get rid of Rojo, because he's one of the problematic players at the football club. I think he's too inconsistent, is Marcus Rojo. Plus, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. I do believe we need to get rid of Damian. Damian's enjoyed a very difficult time at Manchester United, so we could generate around 30 or 35 million pounds for the departures of Matteo Damian and Marcus Rojo. As I said, we've got Smalling and Jones in our back line. Obviously we've got Lindelof, we're going to keep him. We've got Bay, we've got Alex Tuanzebe. So we've got around 6 or 7 central defenders and all that. But like I said, I do believe Harry Maguire is going to address our defensive deficiencies. But he said early on this week about the stories about Harry Maguire, before the figure had come to an agreement, it says we was willing to meet Leicester City's valuation, because for a long time wasn't willing to meet Leicester City's valuation. He did say we was willing to pay £80 million, well, offer £80 million, and he didn't actually say we was going to give Leicester until Monday to accept this offer. But I can't wait till he's in Manchester United shirt, Harry Maguire, and he could be giving his debut next week against Chelsea on the opening day. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now has got an indication of what team to go with against Chelsea, because obviously they've been analysing it throughout pre-season and that. But I think majority of the squad will get their opportunities in the Premier League this season, which is very good. But like I said, I think we're going to be a much better team this season. We're definitely going to be a much better team this season. I think this season, our expectations probably will be to finish in the top 4. Maybe win some silverware. I think this season we may be finishing in the top 4, maybe in the top 3. We may even finish second this season. I'm still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league. But Solskjaer was talking about our ambitions for this season the other week, and he believes Manchester United will be aiming for further up than 4th. I do believe we'll qualify for the Champions League this season. Obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. 3 times out of the 6 seasons since Alex Ferguson's retirement, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. But last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware last season, and we failed to qualify for the Champions League. But I do believe Manchester United are going to have a much better season this season, because I think we've done well in pre-season. We basically you can say we've won 6 out of 6 if you want to include us winning on penalties. There's been 12 goals scored. We've only conceded 3 goals. So yeah, we have done well throughout pre-season. But yeah, this season we're going to have a much better season. I can't see Manchester United winning the league, because I still think there is more investment needed in the squad. I think there's now only 4 days remaining in this transfer window. Yeah, but when Harry Maguire is officially announced, I will be happy. But I still believe we need more than Harry Maguire. We need a couple of new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. We've been in search for the right winner for the majority of the summer, but I'm very sceptical about Manchester United getting the right winning. So further more investment is needed. Like I said, the board have got to get the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants, because if they don't get all the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants, you can say the board have let him down. Obviously we'll start criticising the board and Ed Woodward and all that if he doesn't obviously get all the players he wants, because the board did assure that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given a substantial amount to spend, but that's not the point. It's not always easy to get your number 1 targets. And the market is difficult, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently saying. But it's not always easy to get your number 1 target, especially when you're not in Champions League football. It's obviously in that aspect it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level, and it's also going to be harder to convince imperative players to stay at the football club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't become infuriated in this window. He's basically said we're still looking to sign another couple of more players before this window does currently shut. But Solskjaer anyway was recently, talking about our recruitment policy. Well, Solskjaer initially said, we're not intending on overspending on our transfer target. So yeah, we probably have overspent on Harry Maguire, but obviously, wanting to get the deal, wrapped up for Harry Maguire, which was obviously, very, very essential. I do believe, like I said, the club do need to sell players, because these problematic players at the football club and that. But like I said, analysing it in the last couple of windows, we have been really, really poor. We didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get as number one targets last summer. Which was a huge disappointment. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding. I do know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to rebuild, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, and he's opting, following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. We have been so inconsistent. We haven't really won much silverware. We haven't won the Premier League, since 2013. Obviously, that's over 6 years, and obviously, since Ferguson's retirement, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. Players have come in, and of course, players have gone out. Yeah, but we have been playing catch-up over the last 5 or 6 years. But the main factor is, we have been playing catch-up because obviously we've been mismanaged. This is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving. But, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. Obviously, we didn't win out under the David Moyes era. We spent around £67 million under the David Moyes era. He brought Juan Martin and Fellaini, and obviously Van Gaal came in. Obviously, we spent around £200 million under him. We got quite a few players in under the Louis Van Gaal era. Then under Jose Mourinho, obviously, we spent just under £400 million on 11 players. So yeah, like I said, a lot of money's been invested into the football club, but 3 managers have been sacked since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But I think, Solskjaer is going to succeed at Manchester United. Well, I hope he can succeed at the football club. Don't forget, he has got a bit of experience as a manager, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, he proved himself. He proved himself, as interim manager in his first 3 months at Manchester United. Obviously, won a couple of Norwegian titles there with Malta. He has got a bit of experience as a manager, but I think he'll do really, really well at Manchester United. Well, Solskjaer, don't forget, he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years, under Alex Ferguson, so I do believe he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But yeah, he's at a club that he knows inside out, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, loves the club. But yeah, I've been frustrated, with the lack of silverware in the last 5 or 6 years. We might have won the FA Cup under Louis Van Gaal era. We might have won the Europa League and the League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season at the club, but that's obviously not enough. It didn't. The main factor reason why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho is because obviously I know he had that pedigree. He's a winner. Like I said, he's a winner as Jose Mourinho. He's won trophies everywhere he's been, but it didn't work out for him at Manchester United because he had bad disputes with the board. Obviously, he had bad disputes with the players. Obviously, the board, like I said, weren't backing the signs like wanting to recommend him to the football club last summer. So this is a couple of main factors why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. But now I think Solskjaer is going to take Manchester United forward, and he's going to get us back, to being a competitive elite level football club. And obviously, he said at the end of March his actual preference, was to get our transfer business completed. By the time we did go on pre-season, but obviously, that didn't currently materialise. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to bring young players in that can grow, develop and emulate superstars. Solskjaer confirmed at the end of last season that he wants to recommend a number of young players to come in. But yeah, we are still working on, getting more players to Manchester United. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, 3 players have departed the football club. Obviously, we're doing Antonio Valencia left the football club. Obviously, after he served 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously, Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini left the football club. So they're the 3 players that have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So what we're doing in that midfield, we're looking to get 2 new midfielders in who can replace Herrera and Mario Fellaini. And of course, we're orchestrating on keeping Paul Pogba at the football club. But yeah, further more investment is definitely needed. So yeah, Harry Maguire to Manchester United now is obviously not going to happen, but it hasn't been fully announced as yet. But now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got his number 1 priority, area, because his actual priority was to recommend a central defender in. Then he did say he was going to focus on bringing in a couple of new additions in that midfield. So I want to give you the latest news now in regards to Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Now, according to recent reports, Bruno Fernandes has informed Sporting Lisbon that he does want to join Tottenham. Sporting Lisbon do play Benfica this evening in the Portuguese Super Cup. I think it's a quarter to 8 kick-off, and I do believe after that game, Bruno Fernandes will be officially, leaving Sporting Lisbon, because reports have emerged out on Friday morning saying that, Bruno Fernandes had left Sporting Lisbon's training ground after a meeting to finalise his transfer exit. So I do believe Bruno Fernandes met up with, him and his agent, met up with Sporting Lisbon's president. They also met up with Sporting Lisbon's director, obviously, to, like I said, to finalise his transfer exit. But obviously, it did initially say that Manchester United are set to sign Bruno Fernandes after Sporting Lisbon's Portuguese Super Cup match with Benfica. But now reportedly there has been a change of scenery, because obviously reports have emerged out earlier on this week saying that Tottenham, obviously, officials flown out to Portugal to obviously go meet up with Sporting Lisbon's president Federico Fernandes, to negotiate, to possibly thrash out a deal for Bruno Fernandes. Now it reportedly says that Tottenham have moved ahead of Manchester United in the race, reportedly, because now Tottenham are in talks to currently sign Bruno Fernandes. I think actually, Tottenham, from Tottenham's perspective, they're looking to get a number 10 in, so they're looking to add an attacking midfielder in their team. I do know Tottenham have signed 2 players so far this summer. They smashed their transfer record for Tanguy Ndombele, who they paid around £65 million for. And obviously, they got Jack Clark from Leeds, who's been loaned back to Leeds for this season. But obviously, Tottenham are looking to do further more investment. Obviously, we do know Tottenham's main priority target has obviously been Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. But I do believe Tottenham are becoming infuriated over their chase for Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis, because Tottenham have not yet come to an agreement on a fee with Real Betis. Tottenham have been locked in negotiations with Real Betis for several months. But I do believe Real Betis they're open to selling Giovanni Lo Celso. But I do believe that they want around £70 million. I think Tottenham are hopeful they can get Bruno Fernandes for around 55 million, or Giovanni Lo Celso for around 55 million. But obviously, that figure is too insufficient, because you've got Sporting Lisbon that want around £64 million for Bruno Fernandes. Like I just said, you've got Real Betis that want around £70 million for Giovanni Lo Celso. Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million. Don't forget, Tottenham have already had a £52 million bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso. So basically, Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative to Giovanni Lo Celso. But Tottenham want to do more investment, but it was looking likely, he was going to be coming to Manchester United after the Portuguese Super Cup. But now reportedly, Bruno Fernandes, according to the Daily Mail and all that, he's informed Sporting Lisbon that he does want to currently join Tottenham. And I did initially say, Tottenham have got Champions League football to offer him. Manchester United haven't got Champions League football to offer him. And like I did say, that could go against us in that aspect. Obviously, he did say earlier on this week, that Manchester United had an agreement in principle. Man United had an agreement in principle, to reach an agreement in principle. Sorry, with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. And it reportedly said, Bruno Fernandes has obviously already informed his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave this summer. But Damasio came out early on this week, just like he did with the Harry Maguire situation, and he basically said, Manchester United are close to signing Bruno Fernandes. But we've been in for Bruno Fernandes for the entirety of the summer. Obviously, he has been one of our main priority targets. Obviously, his move to Manchester United all summer has not been dependent on, of course, what happens with Paul Pogba. You had British journalists, coming out the other week saying that Manchester United have not been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, but we have, been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer. I was reading reports the other week, and it did say Bruno Fernandes is unlikely to join Manchester United, because it reportedly said, we believe the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, was actually stemming from Portugal. Was actually stemming from Portugal rather than Manchester. So this is what we basically believed. And I think Sporting Lisbon's boss, he's had his overarching view on the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, and I think he's come to accept the fact now that obviously Bruno Fernandes wants to leave Sporting Lisbon, to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. But the boss of Sporting Lisbon did say that Bruno Fernandes could leave. He did basically say that his future is still up in the air, but he did give his analysis this summer. And he did say clubs have been keen on signing the player, mainly Manchester United. But Federico Fernandes, obviously he revealed, how much, it will cost to sign Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. So I do believe Sporting Lisbon, want around £64 million. Obviously, if you looked earlier on this week, Sporting Lisbon denied speculation that Manchester United had reached an agreement to sign Bruno Fernandes, and it reportedly said on Tuesday that Man United had made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent. But obviously, Bruno Fernandes' agent has been to the UK quite a few times, and obviously he's looking for the best. He's looking for the best possible deal, basically, for his client. I do believe his agent's held quite a few talks with Tottenham. He's obviously held quite a few talks there with Manchester United, but he's looking for the best possible deal for his client. But it was only last weekend that reports emerged out saying that Man United had reached a transfer agreement with Sporting Lisbon, and according to reports from Italy, it said around the 62 or 63 million pound fee had been agreed between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. It reportedly said last week he was actually not set to fly out to Manchester, fly out to the UK for his medical with Manchester United, ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. But I do believe for large portions of the summer, just like what was going on with Harry Maguire, until we got a fee agreed, I do believe Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block, because obviously, Sporting Lisbon value him at around £70 million. I do believe, according to recent reports, Manchester United are only willing to pay around £50 million for the player. But I do believe he would be a fantastic midfielder for us. He would rejuvenate the team. He'd bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. His work ethic is good. His tenacity is good. His tenacity is really, really good. He's really, really good from set pieces. He's Bruno Fernandes, and he's only 24 years of age, and he has still got a lot of development in him. And we've been working on getting this deal over the line, for the entirety of this summer. And obviously I know he's not really got the experience of playing to the highest level. He hasn't really had the experience of playing in Champions League football. But I think, he's got all the attributes to definitely succeed in the Premier League, and I do think he'd exceed expectation levels at Manchester United and all that. Obviously, he's still got around 4 years remaining on his contract with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, he scored, 32 goals last season for Sporting Lisbon, I think in around, 50 games, or was it 31? I think Bruno Fernandes predominantly plays as number 10 as well. Obviously, his initial release clause is around £88 million. Obviously, spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger, the likes of San Pandoria and underneath. Obviously, we do know throughout the summer, Liverpool have obviously, been accredited with an interest. Obviously, Sporting Lisbon, haven't been that reliable anyway, They haven't been that reliable because, got reflected back a couple of months ago, Sporting has been assured that Bruno Fernandes was going to be going to Manchester City, but obviously he's moved to Manchester City and never materialised because obviously, Manchester City had initially, withdrawn their interest. But I do believe at one point that Bruno Fernandes' actual preference was Manchester United, but now reportedly he's informed Sporting Lisbon that he does want to join Tottenham, does Bruno Fernandes. So reportedly now we could miss out on the player, because Tottenham have been in for him quite a few times throughout the course of the summer, but now Tottenham have stepped up their interest in the player, and they're in talks with Sporting Lisbon to sign Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, I would be excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think our midfield would look absolutely fantastic. But I think now actually, Paul Pogba anyway, could remain at the football club, based on the extortionate amount we've put on him. Paul Pogba, could remain at the football club, because we want around £180 million for him. So basically, we're demanding more than double than what we initially paid for Paul Pogba, back in 2016 from Juventus. But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, we still need to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield, because with Paul Pogba, I think he's done fantastic throughout pre-season, don't get me wrong, and we saw glimpses of his best form when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager in that 3-month period. But for large portions of the 3 years he has been at Manchester United since he returned in 2016, he has been very, very inconsistent. Don't get me wrong, I've seen Paul Pogba at his best, and when he is at his best, don't get me wrong, he is one of the best midfielders in the world. Is Paul Pogba, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, we could now reportedly miss out on Bruno Fernandes, because reportedly this could be just the media justifying their existence. They could be just speculating on this, but the Daily Mail have said and all that Bruno Fernandes has told Sporting Lisbon he basically wants to join Tottenham reportedly. So that's what it's basically said. And but Damasio brought the news out early on this week, and he said Manchester United are close to currently signing the player. So if he was to still get Bruno Fernandes, obviously he's going to cost us around 60 odd million pounds. Obviously, like I said, we've spent 148 million this summer, so it'd take our spending up to over 200 odd million pounds. Obviously, if we do get the deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, that's the latest news about him. I want to keep you up to date with what's going on with Paulo Dybala, because obviously, as I did update you guys on yesterday, saying that there has been huge developments around the situation regarding Paulo Dybala. So there's not really much more to update about him. Obviously, as reports emerged out yesterday, saying that Paulo Dybala had been forced to train alone. Now, due to this, I think Paulo Dybala, as obviously he feels sad and he has become infuriated, that with Juventus, and he doesn't like the way that he's been treated by Juventus. So I do believe now this is secured. He wants out of Juventus, because obviously his initial preference was to remain in Turin. Obviously, earlier on this week, Paulo Dybala had headed back to Turin after his holidays, and I think he did say he was set to meet up with Maurizio Sarri, to discuss his potential future, because I do believe Juventus actually want him out. They want Paulo Dybala out, even though he's got no intention of leaving. But now the way that Juventus has treated him, I do believe Dybala wants to leave Juventus anyway, according to recent reports. Obviously, Paulo Dybala, I don't think he's allowed to return to training with Juventus until next week, until his transfer saga is currently resolved. But now reportedly, Paulo Dybala's transfer to Manchester United is looking inevitable now that Juventus, of course, have forced him to train on his own. But yeah, so for this swap deal to go through, between Paulo Dybala and Romelu Lukaku, obviously, Paulo Dybala has got to agree a move to Manchester United. I do believe that Lukaku has agreed with personal terms with Juventus, so I do believe he's agreed a contract worth up to around 160 grand a week. But now the move hinges on, the deal hinges on, Paulo Dybala agreeing a move to Manchester United. I think recent reports did say that, Dybala's got, reservations about joining Manchester United. I did say certain players, would have reservations about joining the football club, because obviously we're not in Champions League football and that. And I think also Dybala did say he doesn't want his wages to be cut by 25% if we fail to qualify for the Champions League. But obviously, we're working on getting this deal over the line, because obviously, Paul, we're working on getting this deal over the line. Obviously, like I said, Paulo Dybala's agent has obviously been in London, and he's held talks with Manchester United, because obviously he wants to get a deal thrashed out for his client. Obviously, also Paulo Dybala's agent, had secondary talks with Manchester United. Obviously, over they coming to an agreement on the personal terms. I do believe the Juventus sporting director, he's been to London. He's also been to Manchester, to discuss Paulo Dybala's potential move. But reportedly now we've got Dybala and his representatives, demanding 350 grand a week. So Dybala wants around 350 grand a week to come to Manchester United. I think he wants around 10 million a year after tax. And he did reportedly say that Man United are willing to offer him around 10 million pounds a year. So reportedly Dybala is willing to come, as long as we're willing to give him a significant pay rise. So he wants 350 grand a week. Obviously on his current salary at the moment with Juventus is on around 120 grand a week. Obviously that equates to around £6.5 million a year. So that's what he's on at Juventus at the moment. So if we had to give him 350 grand a week, he would get around a £230,000 pay rise. Obviously, yeah, we can definitely afford, to pay him what is demanded. Don't forget, we're a massive club. You've got massive revenues and all that. And obviously, with us offloading Lukaku anyway as part of the deal, that's going to help us with our wage bill. It's going to free up. It's going to obviously free up funds, to help us give Paulo Dybala that significant pay rise. So if we was willing to give him 350 grand a week, obviously it'd make Dybala one of the highest paid players in the Premier League, also make him one of the highest paid players at the football club and all that. But I think Dybala is the answer to our issues. It would improve us even more in that attacking third of the pitch. Even though we do look much better now in that attacking third of the pitch. But Dybala is experienced. He's only 25 years of age. Obviously hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, but I think he's primarily a number 10. But he can obviously play as a forward. Dybala, like I said, I think he's got his potential. He's a very good agile player, and obviously we've been tentatively linked with Dybala. No real links have emerged until the last week, but the swap has been agreed. Sky News confirmed earlier on this week that Man United and Juventus have agreed a swap deal in principle, involving Romelu Lukaku and Paulo Dybala and all that. But it's basically now all down to what Dybala does. His goal scoring pedigree as well is fantastic in the entirety of his career. So for the entire career so far, Dybala he's scored 118 goals in his career so far. 118 goals, he's scored 78 goals in 182 appearances for Juventus in all competitions. That was since his arrival in 2015. He is still under contract with Juventus until 2022. He's got around 3 years left on his contract, and obviously he's got concerns that his trophy ambitions, trophy aspirations, cannot be matched by Manchester United. So he has got some reservations about coming to the football club. Obviously, I think Juventus paid around 40 million euros for him from Parma back in 2015. But obviously, I think Cristiano Ronaldo has actually instructed Dybala to make the move to Manchester United. This is what basically Cristiano Ronaldo's done. But I still think initially Dybala said he wants to fight his place in the Juventus team. But obviously, initially lost his place in the Juventus side last season to Cristiano Ronaldo. But he definitely Juventus might open to getting rid of him. But I think this will be beneficial for this swap deal to go through, because Dybala surplus 2 requirements at Juventus. You've got Romelu Lukaku, that surplus 2 requirements at Manchester United. Because obviously Lukaku's going to find it very hard now to get in that attacking line. You've got likes of Daniel James, he's upcoming. You've got likes of Rashford in that attacking line, which is obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference ahead of Romelu Lukaku. You've got Martial, you've obviously got Greenwood, you've got Chong and all that. You've got Lingard in that attacking line. So obviously, and you've got Mata as well. So obviously Lukaku's going to find it very, very hard, to obviously get it there in that current mix. But to be fair, we do look much better in that attacking third end of the pitch now. We've got that pace now up front, and that's something we did lack last season. This is why last season wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why, of course, it wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. But we've got that pace now up front, which is absolutely fantastic. I think with Martial and that, I think he should be played more central this season, because I think he's looked, really effective in that central position throughout pre-season. I think he fulfills that number 9 role fantastically well. But there again, you've got Martial and Rashford that can both play out wide. They can both play central. They've done well throughout pre-season. They've scored goals and that, and there was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season with Martial and Rashford, just like Jesse Lingard was. But they're definitely the long-term solutions for Manchester United. But for me, Dybala coming in will add a bit more experience in our attacking line, and I do believe he'll be a good upgrade to the likes of Lingard and Juan Mata. But I think he would succeed in the Premier League with Dybala. So definitely more things will update about him. But like I said, I do believe Manchester United do need to sell players. Definitely, because these problematic players the football club with De Gea, he's obviously agreed a new 6-year contract. Obviously he's going to be on around 375 grand a week. I think his contract should be announced very, very soon, because obviously now pre-season now is over. But like I said, Dybala's demanding 350 grand a week. We've got players on big contracts now at the club. You've got Martial, who's on a substantial amount. He signed a 5-year deal in January. You've got Rashford, he's on 200 grand a week, potentially rising up to 300 grand a week, including bonuses. De Gea's are going to be on 375 grand a week. You've got Sanchez, who's obviously the highest paid player at the football club, on £500,000 a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got Lukaku on over 200 grand a week at Manchester United. So we have got players on big contracts, as you all do currently know. But I think on that left-hand side anyway, we mainly look okay on that left-hand side, because if you realise last season the majority of our attack was coming from that left-hand side. But I do believe, Luke Shaw has done really, really well. He was our double player of the year last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. So I've been very, very impressed there with him, and I think he's going to get better. Is Luke Shaw, Daniel James. This season Daniel James will play. Some games will play him on the right. Some games will play him on the left, because obviously he can play on each flank. But I think supposedly Daniel James is supposed to be more effective from that left hand side, as you definitely all do currently know. But yeah, still lots to currently address in the squad. So that's everything to currently giving an update on today. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon.